Okay, so a community member of ours put out an endorsement of Tasty Loot Gaming, which was very appreciated. Thank you. And we're going to watch it. And yeah, so let's just do that.
If any of you guys are interested in a top-notch gaming YouTube channel, if you like podcasts, good discussion, streams here and there, you should check out Tasty Loot Gaming. Real good guys. You got Seth, Chevy, Chris, moderately decent person at best. Josh, Cody, other guys in the group. Everyone that from time to time that show up. But it's a great channel. They're almost to 2,000 subscribers. But they're real good guys and very insightful and far more informative and interesting than the bigger channels, hundreds of thousands, millions. So check them out. Again, it's Tasty Loot Gaming. All right. They're paying me for this, by the way. So they're excellent.
I just have to be clear in saying that I paid big money for that endorsement and has done nothing but great things for the channel. We went from almost 2,000 subscribers to almost 2,000 subscribers overnight. Yeah, very, very.
I want
crazy.
my money back. I feel slandered. I don't appreciate this.
I just like the call out directly to you. Moderately.
I don't know what I've done to deserve this.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for that shout out on your Instagram story, Wade. It was very much appreciated. I thought it was very awesome of you to do, even if you had to slander one of the Tasty crew.
Oh, good. If I had pearls, I'd be clutching them right now.
Oh my God, I can't believe you would say that about me.
My word.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 123 of the Tasty Cast, our weekly podcast where we talk about things, react to things, do a bunch of random shit. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
I'm Chris.
And a couple of quick reminders that we are now in a new month, so make sure to download and play Street Fighter V and PUBG, both offer for free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download those, play those, come back at the end of this month for Plus Club. Let us know what we thought of those games. We'll let you know what we thought of them. And our game of the month picked by Chevy is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. If you did not get a chance to play that fucking 35 years ago when it came out, it is a 1 to 4 player cooperative RPG where you essentially carry stuff and escort the person carrying the stuff and kill the things to try and stop you from carrying the stuff. Make sure to play that. Come back at the end of the month for Game of the Month. We're going to talk about that as well. We have a Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us. And we have Patreon link down below as well if you'd like to support the channel further than liking, commenting, sharing, and all that cool stuff. Watching the episodes. Thank you so much for all you guys' support. And type in hashtag AskTLG on your comment if you'd like to be considered on our Reading Your Guys' Comment segment of Tastecast, which we will be doing in this episode. If you want your comment to be extra considered, put in hashtag AskTLG in your comment, and I will extra consider it. I'll look right at it, and I'll go, that's probably the one. Otherwise, I pick at random. So if you didn't get your comment read on the show, and you didn't type in hashtag AskTLG, sorry, bud. Yeah, so Tastycast. We haven't done Tastycast in years, and I'm really excited to finally sit down, talk with you guys again about gaming stuff, but also kind of catch up a little bit because we have a segment that we start every Tastycast with of what we've been playing, and I feel like we can talk about what we've been playing the last month, but if there's anything like in the last week, if there's anything like the last month you guys like are more particularly want to talk about, feel free, because we haven't been talking about this.
I think this will be pretty easy for me and you anyways, because a lot of that time was busy.
Yeah, I played one game, but I'm going to talk about that one game.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's the whole reason I'm even bringing it up. So yeah, let me check real quick. And yeah, let's start with what we've been playing. And let's start with Chevy.
All right. So, I mean, my primary game I've been playing lately has mostly just been Final Fantasy 14. We got some new free company members, so
I've been hearing all about them.
Wow, one of them. Yeah, it's been cool. It's been really weird having people I don't know in there, just because mostly It's usually somebody knows somebody type of thing.
Stranger danger.
Yeah, and I'm sure Chris was thrilled. But a friend of the channel, Rob, who plays with us.
Very good friend of the channel.
Yeah, he
Best buddy friend of the channel.
he decided to go snatch up some newbies, and so we
Kidnapped him.
have some fresh blood in the free company, and they had a lot of questions, which is totally fine.
Like, where am I? Who are you? Do my parents know I'm here? Do I have permission
Maybe.
to go to the bathroom, sir?
No. Stay out of the free company house.
So I'm nobody's boss.
You stay in the yard.
Yeah, other than that, it's just been like standard affair. They brought back an event from like 4 or 5 years ago as a Yokai Watch crossover event. It is a lot shorter to do this time because it was a nightmare of a grind the first time. So I don't think it's necessarily that fun, but if you're a collection nut, you got plenty of time to do it, so you don't have to grind out on it the way I think most people tend up doing it anyways. And then I think the Rising event is still technically happening, which is kind of their, like, every year they celebrate the fact that the game is in service, because the story of the game, was that it was going to fail. So it's kind of like the devs teams once a year, thank you, this is because of you event.
Yeah.
So, and I always appreciate that anyways, because Yoshi P, the game director, has an avatar in game, and he shows up and like talks to your character specifically about like the last year and stuff like that. And it's really neat.
It's like God just showing up and talking to you.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you get pulled out of the game world and into a...
I would start a fucking strip cult after that happened to me. I'd be like, the creator
I mean,
has
Yoshi P
spoken.
kind of does have a little cult following, so...
Makes sense.
So I always
The
love
creator.
I always love the Rising event just because it feels very personal. So other than that, I mean, just normal stuff. I'm just kind of waiting for. They're still adding stuff to this patch, and the main feature of it is still a couple weeks out, which will be what keeps everyone busy. We did get good news today though that they took the loot cap off the raid, so now you can just run it over and over and over again instead of once a week. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah. So time to farm. Let's see, what else have I been playing? I played a little bit of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I can't talk about it, but I played a little bit. I played a little bit of Street Fighter 5. I can't talk about it, but I played a little bit of it. And then me and Chris played some EDF 5 on PC, and that's a blast. And we talked about it last month for Game of the Month. You should check that out. But that game is just so easy to just like once you start playing it, you're in it, and
Yep.
it's just hitting next mission over and over. There's multiple nights where I was like, I'm gonna go to bed, and then 2 hours later I was like, dude, I gotta go to bed. So super recommend picking up that game and trying it. I know it looks weird, but man, just play it.
Yeah, just shut up and play it.
And that's really all I have of note that I've played. So
Fair. I'll go next. So I played Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicle a little bit. I need to play it more. I want to play with you guys a little bit. Played Street Fighter 5. Not going to say anything about my opinion, but that game is busy visually. Holy shit. I haven't been playing Street Fighter in a little bit. So like I came back and started it up because we got to play it for the show. And I was just really kind of blown away by how much was going on visually, music, and like all the stuff happening and all the I'll talk about it more at the end of the month, but I got a lot to say about it because I was like, what the fuck is happening? Played Deep Rock Galactic almost exclusively for like the last month in the time that we were moving. That's been the reason why our schedule's been so exacerbated lately. Anytime I did have a chance to play a game, I was playing Deep Rock Galactic. If you don't know what that is, it is a first-person 1 to 4 player cooperative game with dwarves. You go into mines, you look for stuff, you do certain missions, kind of like Payday 2. They randomly pop up, and you do them with friends. And it's got 4 classes. They all do their own, specific things that are very team oriented, and it's overall just a blast. I love the game. I used to play it, a while ago. Got back into it with some friends, and we've been playing it pretty nonstop until like the last week. It's still really fucking good. I've kind of made this this for anybody who follows the channel regularly. This will mean more to you than somebody who maybe is watching this for the first time. And if you're watching this for the first time, welcome to the channel. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next episode. I've decided to stop hopping games as much as I normally do and just try and stick to at least like 4 games, which I know even sounds like a lot of games, but it's dramatically less than like 10 games a week. So I was like, I'm going to play Deep Rock Galactic and only Deep Rock Galactic. And then I got another game I'm playing right now. And now I'm kind of like putting them into segments. I'm like, this is my FPS. This is my MMO. This is my blah, 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 blah. And I'm only going to play those games because I hop games so much that I don't get to fully invest and enjoy the games that I'm trying constantly. And so Deep Rock Galactic has been that experiment for me, and it's been going really well. I've been playing it a lot. I got a max level dwarf. If you don't know, there is an end game now to Deep Rock Galactic where there's something called deep dives. You have to be, I think, level 25 and promoted to be able to do them. They're a weekly raid that have a name, and they're designed a specific way by the devs. And you can do them as much as you want, but you can only complete it once and get the weekly rewards, which are mods for your weapons that change the way they work. So that's really neat, and I am planning on trying to do that on a weekly basis now. Just to kind of unlock all the stuff in that game. Otherwise, that game's just a blast to play. Like I love that game. It upsets me that people love that game and not enough people have played it. So I hope other people will get around to playing it, enjoying it, because every time I play it, I'm just like, this is just such a cool fucking idea, and it plays so well. It's got so many good ideas. So yeah, Deep Rock Galactic is awesome. I've been playing it a lot. And then the other game I've been playing a lot lately, and by a lot, I mean like in the last like 3 or 4 days, I've been playing it almost nonstop, is I've come back to Guild Wars 2. I've told the story a million times. I'm going to tell it 1,000,001 times at this point. And just my history with Guild Wars 2 and the reason I didn't play it. So I played it when it first came out 8 years ago, and then I got hacked, got my character back. They didn't return all my gear. For some reason, I hit them up. I'm like, hey, where's my gear at? They're like, oh, we returned it to the state before the hack. I'm like, yeah, but I wasn't naked and penniless on my journey to 80. And they're like, well, that's how it was. I'm like, okay. And then like maybe a year later after that, my account just like disappeared. And I couldn't log into it. So I wrote it off. I was like, I used to love Guild Wars 2, but it, that's two big strikes for me. I can't. I'm not going to buy the game again. I'm not going to support this game, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, recently I was having a conversation with a friend about MMOs, and kind of went back to the idea of Guild Wars 2 and how much I used to love that game. Like, I love that fucking game. And out of curiosity, I checked if my account was there. It was. And all my characters and everything. So I was like, holy shit. Let's see if I can get back into this. And long story short, I did. I've been playing it a shitload lately. Which has been really, really great, because outside of Final Fantasy 14, I've been pretty much wanting a new MMO desperately, something new and exciting to play, and they don't really exist anymore. And I've played most of the old ones, and a lot of them are either dead or they just haven't gone in a direction that's great. And like Final Fantasy 14 seems to be one of the only ones that's kind of like still pumping out new and relevant stuff. World of Warcraft, of course, does, but I'm not a big WoW guy. It's just my preference. It's nothing against the game. Blizzard fans, I promise. But Guild Wars 2 was off my radar completely, and so I've come back to it, and I've been just kind of like re-immersing myself in the game that almost feels like a brand new game at this point. Also very familiar, though, because I go to every zone, and I'm like, oh my god, I remember this. It's been like 7 years since I touched this game, so it's been a fucking grip. And all the songs, I remember, just everything about the game has just been really cool to come back to. But since I've been gone, 2 expansions have come out. There's another expansion coming out soon. It's going to be their 3rd one soon, I mean within the next year. Yeah, I've been working on getting mounts. I'm working on my 2nd mount now, which is pretty cool. The first one is a raptor, velociraptor that you can run with, and has an ability to jump horizontally really far. The next mount has the ability to jump vertically really far. It's called a Springer. It looks like a rabbit. But then like the amount of skins in the game for the mounts literally changed the visual style of the mount. So you can have a Velociraptor and turn it into something completely different, but it maintains the same ability, which I think is really neat. And then I'm working towards getting my glider, which came out in another expansion. It allows you to glide off of things you jump off of, which is pretty cool. And And yeah, it's just really neat to come back to this game because first off, I got a couple people playing with me, which is cool. I just told some people like, "Hey, I'm hopping back in." They're like, "Oh, fuck yeah, I'll hop back in too." And we've been playing, doing PvP and stuff like that. But it's just been cool to hop back in, have people to play with. And when I left the game originally, you got to 80, you did the dungeons, and then you just grinded for essentially cosmetics. And some of us were more honest about that ain't doing it for us, and they left earlier than me. And then there's me going, it's neat. It's neat. I like cosmetics. This was, way before Overwatch came out, and I just realized I can't play a game for cosmetics alone. I just can't do it. But coming back to it now, there's all this end game stuff to unlock and work towards, far more than there was before. So that has been really cool to come back and see that there is stuff to work for outside of just cosmetic things. And yeah, it's a blast. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And if anybody wants to hop on with us, you can go on to, I think, Ferguson Crossing is the server we're on, and our guild is Tasty Loot Gaming, TLG. And yeah, just let me know you want to hop in and play with us if you want to. But that game's popping too. It's fucking crazy. Like, I'm glad to see that because I'll revisit MMOs every once in a while and I look around, I'm like, this is depressing.
A lot of them are, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, this is fucking shit.
There's like a handful of like well-populated ones at this point. So
yeah, and so like I'm revisiting all these other ones and I'm like, oh man, I remember the glory days of this. Holy shit. And then I come back to this, Guild Wars 2, and I'm in the beginning zone and there's just people fucking everywhere. And I was like, okay. And I go to other zones, there's people everywhere. I'm like, so this game just legit has a community. That's fucking awesome. So really happy about that.
Well, I think them and Final Fantasy both did a really smart thing and made effectively the base game free. So
yeah, yeah.
So you get a whole game, you get to just try it out, which is going to populate them low zones. So.
I was telling you about this too, but there's all these like people in forums talking about mounts and not having access to them because they don't have the expansions or having to pay for skins and stuff like that. And they're playing the base game that I bought when it came out for free. Yeah. And they're like, look, I'm willing to spend money, but not like this. I'm not doing this. This MMO's not for me. And I'm like, okay, like you came in for free. There's stuff that the game needs to be supported. That's why it exists. That's why you get to play it. And it's just funny to see people just go like, you want me to fucking spend money on your game? You gave it to me for free. You want me to give you more? You want me to give you money for more content? What a bunch of grifters. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, where does that even come from? It's crazy how people don't understand how free to play works. It's not a charity.
Well, yeah, for sure. And especially like in the MMO space where the only way you can get people in the door these days is by making free to play, or at least pay once and then have access type of deal. There's reoccurring bills that these guys got to pay. So they want to keep making stuff for the game. They got to pay people to do that. So
right,
yeah,
I don't know.
Especially when you're looking at the server and how populated it is. I'm like, do you understand that costs money to run the server, to maintain things, to have a team there to take your tickets in if you're having an issue in the game, new content being developed, new expansions being developed. Like, they're not just sitting around going like, out of the goodness of our heart, we're going to create a great experience for everybody. We expect nothing for it.
Well, and then you were saying like some of those skins are like, well, I think you said you can like kind of get like a randomized one for $4 or whatever.
Yeah, you either get them at random, or you can pay a little bit more and pick directly which one you want.
So, I mean...
And there's a shitload, and they're all very different looking.
Assuming these guys make more than minimum wage, you're not even paying an hour of their time. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess my brain works differently on that, but...
What, just being realistic?
Yeah, it's weird to me.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, anyone who's followed the show knows at this point, but like, me and you specifically have had a history with like getting into a free to play game, and if we're like sinking time into it, like, okay, cool, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get here's some money.
Warframe.
Warframe was a big one.
I I've put a lot of money into Warframe.
And I've put money into other free-to-play MMOs, not like to the same extent. Like if I've played him for
Exvius.
That's not the same.
Final Fantasy 14.
Well, yeah, that's a monthly subscription though. I just give them extra because I enjoy the game at that point.
I give them extra. I can play the game. I'm like, I like that mount.
No, but even like I'm trying to think of a good example. Whatever. Anyways, any like free to play MMO that comes out, if I play for more than like a couple of days, I in the back of my head I'm like, yeah, I can drop $10, whatever. Because at that point, like I'm playing it. Now, am I going to continue doing that? Not necessarily. That might just be my one and done, and because I don't know what my investment in the game is going to be at that point. But I've enjoyed it enough to play it a couple, for a while. They deserve something. So,
yeah. I want to close out real quick with what I've been playing just by talking about real fast Guild Wars 2. Things I like about it as an MMO because we haven't talked about Guild Wars 2 on the show really ever because it hasn't been on our radar.
Yeah.
We've talked about
since we've done the show.
Yeah, we've talked about Final Fantasy 14 many times. It's a great MMO. Definitely recommend it. The thing I really enjoy about Guild Wars 2 though is just how well it plays. That shit is buttery smooth. The combat plays fantastic. The builds in the game can get really interesting, even more so now that there's like advanced specializations for each class that were not there when I used to play. So you can get really kind of crazy. For instance, my first level 80, which is max level in the game, was an engineer who essentially drops turrets, uses tools, and does a bunch of random stuff, shoots stuff, blah, 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 blah. He has an advanced specialization called Hollow Smith, and he essentially turns into a hologram, and it's like a sword, and it's like a more like attacking tankier build where I have like a sword and shield, and you don't really think of that as an engineer, but it's like one of the top rated fucking engineer builds right now is the Hallsmith build. So they've done a lot to kind of go like, well, you think your class is for this, but now we're introducing new ways to play, and I really kind of dig that. And that really kind of goes into the PvP as well, which Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2 have both been very good about being PvE and PvP centric. I would say evenly. They're very good about paying respect to both of those ways of playing, because you have people who want to play PvE games, you have people who want to play PvP games. They typically don't intersect. I'm weird. I like them both. So Guild Wars 2 has always kind of called to me because there's just all a shitload of PvE content, and then I would say some of the best PvP in MMOs. I've been playing it a lot lately, and it just works really well, plays really well, feels fair, and I just really enjoy just how buttery smooth the combat is. It feels so good. Animations in the game are great. Graphics, it was kind of weird. I logged in, and I was in some of the earlier zones. I looked down, I'm like, okay, it has aged a bit. Like, I remember when I first saw the game, I was like, oh my god, this is an amazing looking MMO. 8 years later, come back, I look at it, I'm like, yeah, it's gracefully aging, but it's definitely aging. And then with some of the newer zones, and I got the mounts and shit, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, here's the newer shit, because this stuff looks fantastic. The mounts animations are so fucking good, and they're so clean and crisp looking, as like, just the raptor looks great, and the way it moves, and like it even controls different than your character. You can tell they put a lot of work into it, and I really, really dig that. So plus it has a world I really like exploring. It has things to complete exploration of the map, and it gives you things for finding everything on the map. So it's one of the only games out there I'm like actually wanting to complete the whole fucking thing. I think I have like 86% of the map completed with my engineer, and that's with the expansion content. So
it does remind me, I remember doing that even in Guild Wars 1 though. So they've always been really good about like, hey, make sure to check every nook and cranny. So, and
there's like a lot of like platforming segments. I know 14 does that as well, some platforming stuff.
I hate it, but yes.
Yeah. Missions in Guild Wars 2 are interesting because it just gives you a hub of multiple things you can do. So you can quest the way you want to quest. Maybe you want to go fight monsters for this area, you can do that. Or you can go like fucking water some dude's plants if you want to do that. I just did a mission or quest recently where one of the options was to go to the hospital and help fucking do surgery, which first off, I'm not a fucking doctor. I don't know why you're trusting me. Secondly, you go up to the patients and they're sitting on the fucking table and they're just like, okay, I got to fucking cut my leg, so it's going to need stitches. Next, I need you to get the poison out of my blood. Third, I need you to suture it up and make sure that we stop the bleeding. And I'm like, are you the doctor? Every single patient, she's like, let me tell you how to do this. I'm like, I'm not a doctor, so I'll just listen to you. I'll just go grab the shit. But it's neat because it's almost like a memory thing. Not a memory thing. You just got to read what they're saying and just, do the right things accordingly. And I thought it was kind of a neat way to mix up, questing in games that can just be go kill 20 wolves. But yeah, Guild Wars 2 is awesome. Really surprised to see it's not on console. That game would play great on console. 14 plays on console. And it's way more intricate in its like macros than fucking
they built an entire UI just to make it work on console, so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like, with Guild Wars 2, it's like you have 5 macros, another 5 typically, and then some classes have another 5 maybe. You could easily put that on a controller.
I don't think NCSoft's ever dabbled in console. Maybe they have, but
it's weird. And with their current model,
I can't think of anything.
They would boost their fucking their community even more with the model they have on console. Release a free to play, buy the expansions.
Yeah, I don't think that company's interested in console, unfortunately. Because I agree with you. I do think it could only benefit it, but
it's already doing well. So it's just like for MMOs now. So it seems like a missed opportunity. So
yeah, I don't imagine at the age of the game at this point that the amount needed would be that crazy anyway.
No, it's 8 years in.
Yeah.
Just so fucking crazy, man. Like playing the game's been like a time capsule. I'm like, 8 years ago? I feel like I just played this. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Well, how old am I? Who am I? Where am I?
6-7 years now for Final Fantasy 14, not including 1.1 or 1.0.
See, that's crazy
and
too.
1.0 I think is 10 years old at this point. So
Yeah.
10 years.
Wild shit. Yeah.
No new MMOs up in that bracket.
I feel like
That's
Guild Wars
crazy.
2 and Final Fantasy 14 were some of the last like great MMOs. It was like towards the end of like when they started releasing a lot of like smaller free to play MMOs. They were all fine, like Neverwinter and shit. But at that point, it just seemed like MMOs dropped off.
Well, the market got way too flooded, and then the free to play greed got real thirsty. So
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it became stagnant because everybody, I've talked about this a million times. We've talked about this a million times. Everyone's talked about this a million times. But the road to WoW becoming what WoW is, being in the perfect place at the perfect time, but also doing all the lessons learned from MMOs prior while introducing its own ideas that did really well. They found the fucking secret sauce to success with MMOs. And so everybody else, aside from a couple other people, went, we need to make it just like fucking battle royales. We need to make one of those because we want a piece of that money.
For sure.
So they made these games that were uninspired. So you had a lot of fucking WoW clones, a lot of WoW clones. And WoW didn't even create a lot of these ideas, but WoW fucking made them all work perfectly to the point where anyone could pick up WoW and just it would just click for them. It would just work. Everything is like one of the most complete MMOs ever made. So many people tried to get in the game just to fucking get the money they're making.
Yep.
But so they there's no fucking heart in it. So Final Fantasy 14 is completely different than WoW. It's not even fucking in the same ballpark, and it's the reason why people either love it or hate it, because it's without shame its own fucking game. And I would argue Guild Wars 2 takes a lot of the fucking ideas very popular in MMOs, but it just like the original Guild Wars, rejects a lot of the standards of MMOs.
Yeah.
It doesn't care about the Holy Trinity. You can still do it, but it goes, you don't need to fucking be a healer. You don't need to be a tank. You can play fucking however you want. And also rejects the idea of questing in the same standard sense of other MMOs. It wants to give you a more free-form way of leveling up. And I think that's one reason why those two games probably are still around, is because they offered something that wasn't just a rip-off of WoW.
Yeah.
Right,
No, I mean, that
right.
makes sense. I mean, there was a few others out there that I think had a chance, but like I said, the management screwed it up because, like, good examples. I think like Ion took a lot of the, because 14 at its core is still like kind of like using the same systems that WoW uses for combat and stuff like that. It just slows it down and uses the weaving system instead of just purely GCD or whatever. But like, and then Ion took rotations and simplified it because it's a PvEVP game. So you at any moment could be fighting someone, and even in like Final Fantasy 14, when you do PvP, they simplify combos because it's about focusing on the fight and less about what you're pushing. So,
Right.
Yeah, Ion was revolutionary in that.
and they did, yeah, it was a really cool idea, but unfortunately, the direction the game went, the player base was like, I don't want to do this.
It is so crazy to watch almost all MMOs. The longer they exist for, the longer they risk ruining everything.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of that comes down to, and I think you're seeing that a lot, it's just in game development these days anyways, but like communication with the players, big time.
Well, yeah, it's like communication of what the players want and then what the game developers want out of to bring to the game as well. That kind of comes into clash sometimes, it feels like.
Well, like I even remember like when we were playing a lot of Warframe, like being able to watch those dev streams and like be spoken directly to, and they did it during a live stream, so they could read chat and see feedback like instant, like at that moment too.
Yeah.
So there was a relationship there, and then you're seeing that now, like, you know, Final Fantasy 14 does their live letters, which are done live on Twitch. They read the chat while it's happening, type of thing. They talk to the community and stuff, and you see more and more companies doing that, and I think it's a huge part of the success of these types of games, and I'm lumping Warframe into the MMO genre for this, but even like Destiny, they got a lot of crap at first because they literally were just doing whatever they wanted, and now they're trying to listen to the community. I hear because I'm not in the WoW community, but I keep hearing like with this expansion coming out too, they're doing the same thing. They're talking to the community. That is huge. It's a huge thing. When you just sit in your office and you tell the customer what they want instead of asking them what they want, you run into your Ions, and all your other free to play MMOs, essentially, Neverwinter, etc. So
I do think it's so important to be able to create what you want to create, the way you want to create it. But if you're doing games as a service, you have to keep your customer there, and so you have to find a fucking balance. And I almost think it's more of a balance leaning over towards, you know, what the customer wants while trying to implement your ideas as well. Because you have to trust the dev too. They're a fucking developer. Most people don't know how to make a game. And then, you know, somebody had the idea in the first place to make the fucking game. So there's a balance there. But if you don't listen to the community and you start making decisions that they're just not digging, you can't expect people to stick around. Like it's stupid. I even just had to say that. Yeah. But like you see devs all the time do something. If you're like, well, I'm not fucking buying that. They're like, fucking fine, don't.
And they get defensive.
Like, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're a business. Yeah. You have to make money to survive. Like,
yeah, it's wild.
You just gotta you have to find that balance. I'm not saying anybody has to be. You don't have to 100% listen to the customers and be their slave, and you don't have to just listen to the fucking dev, and you know, just be like, well, the dev's always right. Well, no, not always, but is their game. So if they expect something back, they need to work with you as the customer. There is a balance that has to be done there, and so devs that listen to their community are just smart, and across the board show that they're successful. Yeah, I mean, if you look at all of them, I mean, WoW has gone up and down, and it's like the way people view it based off of how well they're listening to the community. When they feel like they're not being heard, they fucking hate the game. People who love WoW will talk the biggest shit about that game when they're not happy, and then as soon as they're heard, they're like, "Oh, it's great. Yeah, you know, I had my problems, but." It's always that up and down. So Blizzard just needs to maintain trajectory on working with their community, especially with a game that fucking old. At this point, just listen to people. If you got a good story to tell your fucking story. But if people are really unhappy with the feature you implemented, get rid of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and by all means, like, experiment and stuff. I do think that's very important because, like, you might come up with an idea that your customers essentially aren't going to think of because they're not in the same mindset as you are as a creator, and find a way to implement it. And if it's not well received, either try to modify it or just don't do it again. Like,
yeah. So, and it's all case by case too. I mean, like, you know, when it came to Mass Effect 3, I get people's criticisms of it, specifically how they felt like they were cheated out of the idea of, and it's not an MMO, of course, but just, you know, devs disagreeing with their communities. I stand by the people who made Mass Effect 3 because that's their story. They want to tell it that way. And, you know, but the backlash they get if they do it in a way that people don't like, they got to deal with that too. You can't be angry because you did that. You decide to do it, and people don't like it, they don't fucking like it. At the same time, I understand where people who played the game were upset that they had the standard of choice and consequence throughout the games that they played, and then they played a third game that didn't have that.
Yeah.
And so I get people are upset about that because it just kind of flipped the expectation over. So that's a situation where I'm like, I don't think there's really anyone right or wrong in that situation.
It's a little trickier too, because like you said, it's not a games as a service game. That's like a storyboard,
exactly.
like yeah.
Right.
But games as a service, though, like your success depends on how you create content for the people who want to buy it. Flat out, that's just how it is. So.
Yeah, it's 100% a give and take relationship.
Yeah, and you even kind of saw in Destiny and Destiny 2 before they wised up with what Destiny 2 is now, which they're doing a great job with it now. Really kind of an up and down of that, of them going, well, we're going to do this, but we're not doing it that way. We're not doing it that way. And community's like, well, why not? Why wouldn't you do it that way? And they're like, well, that's not doing it that way. And then eventually they're like, oh, we're going to do it that way. We're not going to make Destiny 3 5 months after we made Destiny 2.
I will say that a large part of that was probably, leadership change.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming Activision 100%, but
Right.
it definitely helped them.
It is a factor.
It is 100%.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I've been playing. Chris, what have you been playing? Good conversation.
Well, as usual, I play Final Fantasy 14, just doing the raids, getting those down, making progress. It's slowed down a little bit, but it's still progress is being made. So it's fun and exciting. I love watching my opening DPS and then get sad by my continued DPS as a dancer. Because it starts out really high, like, peaking like 23, sometimes 27,000 DPS, and then it hops down to 13. I'm like, oh, well, there it goes.
It's quite a difference.
Yeah, it's bursty.
It's very bursty, but it's fun. I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter lately, and not on PlayStation. I got a good deal for Monster Hunter and Iceborne for the PC. It was like, I think, $35 for everything altogether.
Nice.
Yeah, and just the graphic difference as well as the load time difference is astronomical. Like, it is
It's the story
ridiculous.
If only they
and-
would have released it at the same time as the consoles, I probably would have bought it on PC.
Yeah, it's such a difference. And they released some weaponry that is called the Defender Tree, and it is designed to get you through the base game quicker, so you can start doing the Iceborne stuff to catch up with friends who've already played. And I literally got to master rank within a day. So it really kind of, if you just focus on the main story quest, you can just fly through it real quick. And then as soon as Iceborne stuff happens and the master rank stuff happens, that weapon is just like a baseline weapon. Like, it doesn't do you any additional good to have it. But it's so much fun playing with some people and getting all the gear again and trying new weapons out and the controls. I started with bow, and I used mouse and keyboard for that because I can, flick aim quicker on the monsters with it, which is really nice. And then if I want to do melee weapons, I just pick up my controller and it just instantly detects that I'm using controller and converts to that. So I don't have to worry about like plugging it in and resetting it and launching the game again. It just instantly switches back and forth, which is really, really, really nice.
You're making me want to fucking buy it for PC. Sounds way better.
Do it. And they're releasing new content for it coming out here soon. I believe it's the final content that they're releasing for the game, but it's supposed to be one of the, I think it's Fatalis that they're releasing. It's just
game.
like it's like the big end all Ender Dragon that has kind of existed throughout most of the games. As well as they're making, if I remember right, all of the armor in the game will now be layered armor that you can make. So now you can literally make your character look however you want it to, which is really fun. And because it's on PC, you can install mods. So some of my friends who I'm playing with have HP bar mods installed, so you can see how much health the monster has, a rough sense of it. So it's kind of like it's a little easier to detect like when you need to trap the monster and how fast you're gonna kill the monster. I mean, I don't have any
mode mod.
Sorry?
They got the easy mode mod on.
That's what I was. I give them shit for it all the time. Like, if you can't tell if the monster's ready to trap just by looking at its behavior, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah. I mean, play all you want to play, but
Sure.
that takes away from it for me.
Same. I haven't installed any. The only mod I've installed is the one released by Capcom, and it's the high-res texture mod.
I mean, that's completely different.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd be interested in certain mods, just stuff that takes away from the Monster Hunter aspect of Monster Hunter. And I just wouldn't do it. I'm not going to judge anybody for doing it. I'm not going to be like,
Sure.
oh, you fucking play like that. But yeah, the idea of like not having to read the monster, that's like such a huge part of the game.
Yeah, learning the patterns and
Yeah.
like, oh, that one's weak now because until it's doing like it's drooling more or something like that. But it's still fun overall, just going back through it again and like redoing things with different weapons and trying out new stuff and just how fast it just loads so fucking fast. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest complaint I have about the console, Monster Hunter, is load time is pretty rough. So
Yeah, especially in a game that you have to load a lot
yeah,
to go in
Yeah.
between stuff. Which is whatever. Without the PC version, that's just how the game plays.
for sure. But
if
it
you
was
do hop
definitely
over-
noticeable.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, it's fun. And then I dabbled a little, probably like a day, in Guild Wars 2.
Yes.
I tried to make a new character just so I could like get the feel of the controls again and kind of figure out what I was doing. And I was like, I can't play through the beginning area again for the 90th time. So I just jumped on my 80, which is a Mesmer, which it's so unique as far as like MMO classes go. I've never seen anything like it before. It's an illusionist based class. You make clones, and then the more of those clones you have, you can shatter them to like do damage or confusion, status effects, shielding. Like
I
it's just
hate
really
them in
unique class.
PvP because there's just like 8 of him, and I'm like,
Which is the real one. And they use weapons in such a unique way compared to like other MMO like that I've experienced before. I have a greatsword. That's my primary weapon, and it's not a melee weapon. It's a ranged weapon. I put my hands out kind of like this, and I spin the sword between it. And it shoots laser beams out of it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they get really creative with the classes, even like the more magic-based ones, using like a traditional weapon and still making it feel within the class's boundaries of what you'd expect from them. Like, yeah, the game is really unique in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just effectively
Very
like
much.
a totem or a relic or whatever for them at that point.
That's what makes the builds in the game so interesting, is you're like messing around with your specializations, the amount of different skills you've unlocked that you can only have certain ones at a time, and then the weapons you have, and some classes can switch your weapons, so you're changing your moves constantly. Engineer, you can't change your weapon now. You used to be able to, now you can't, which is interesting, but it's because Holosmith exists. And then I'm playing a Revenant right now, and Revenant's interesting because you can switch your weapon, but then you also have 2 spirits, and you get to switch between the spirits, so you're essentially doing the same thing with your weapons that you're doing with your skills. And then you get all these
That's a
perks
lot
and
of
shit that
layers.
happen from changing the spirit too, to amp you up and buff you and shit. So like when I'm in PvP, I'm just like fighting dudes, and I got 1 heal from this spirit and moves, and I just use them all, and then I start taking damage, I heal, and then I move over to the other spirit, pulls my energy back up, I start hitting them with those fucking moves, use a heal. Recently, I was telling you about this, but I started pulling top healer, and I'm like just running and ganking people a lot, just fucking murdering people and shit, 1v1ing people and wrecking them with the Revenant. I'll get like best offense, best defense, and then I just recently started getting best healer because I'm healing myself so often that I'm like pulling that from healers. And I was like, when that first happened, I was like, best healer? How the fuck that happen? I'm like, I must be getting hit so much and healing so much that I'm just doing the most healing to myself. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, to talking about the classes, the Revenant's really interesting in that regard. I picked it, and then I looked on forums, and people were like, the Revenant's a complicated class. And I was like, of course it is. Of course I picked that. It's like when I picked up the Monk in 14, and like people are like, well, it's kind of like a more complicated class compared to, some of the ones you just fucking nuke shit with. You have to like run around and do all your fucking stances and stuff. I love it. Because I'm fucking hyperactive mentally, and so like I need to be like in the I need to have something to do. So I appreciate that kind of stuff.
That's one of the things I like about Guild Wars 2 is like everything feels so unique. Even though you have like a basis idea of like what the class is kind of going to be like, they are so unique in compared to like mainstay, like a necromancer in this. Like the main weapon you start with, you would think would be like a dagger or a staff, but the first thing you start with is a fucking hatchet, which is so like it's fun because like you said, they use it in such a way that makes it feel natural for the magic user. Like you swing the axe and it from a distance will slash the enemies, make them have reduced armor. You spin the axe in your hand and it's just a bunch of like chain damage from a distance. It's fun and it's fresh. It feels so fresh in comparison to like the stagnant MMO like roles that you have, which I think is what really helps this game out a lot.
I agree.
But I'm not 100% sold on it yet. I think I need to put more time into it.
Definitely do.
If I feel like I want to play it again, but it's free, so I don't have any kind of like financial obligation I've made so far because I bought the original game. So
and there's 4 of us playing, so and we're planning on. We've been already doing PvP pretty regularly. We're planning on doing the World v World stuff. I've been doing the PvE stuff. We have people in the guild who are not interested in PvE, which is interesting. And the game allows for that. You can play through the game just PvPing in World v World or PvP. And then I want to do dungeons and raids and all sorts of shit. So
yeah.
So if you get interested enough, it did take me a little bit. The first day was me getting over like NCSoft fucked me over. I'm still angry, but this is neat. But fuck them. And I bought the expansions. I'm like, oh, this is cool stuff. So yeah, I feel it. I had to like convince myself I was into the game again. So
played some Chronicles. Can't talk about that. Played with Chevy. Played Media 5. Everything you talked about, we played together. Obviously, I played that with him. And then I've been playing kind of on my own some more Diablo 3 here and there.
Interesting.
Not a lot of it, just a little bit here and there. Just kind of getting back into the game, but I'll play it for an hour. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. Can't play any more of this.
Yeah, I'm
because it
ready
gets a
for
little
Diablo
too repetitive
4.
for me. I am so ready for the new Diablo. It looks so gritty and so dark, which is what people have asked for, and I'm kind of intrigued by that.
Yeah, it looks like what Diablo 3 probably should have been. I don't really have a whole lot of complaints about Diablo 3. I think it was really fun, specifically after the expansion came out. But Diablo 4 definitely looks like it's returning back to its roots visually when it comes to just how dark and like more monotone it is in its coloring and bloody, and it just looks more gothic and stuff.
Yeah,
Diablo 3 was so colorful. Even though it was dark, it was still like super colorful and vibrant, and
it's very cartoony dark.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of that I've been playing.
All right, anything else? Let us know in the comments, what games have you guys been playing? What games would you recommend? What games would you not recommend? Are you playing the PlayStation Plus games? Make sure to come back at the end of the month for PlayStation or Plus Club for PlayStation Plus, and we'll talk about then. And play Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicle, and come back and talk to us about that as well. Let us know everything you think about in the comments below. So the first taste cast of every month, we typically do a segment where we go through releases for the month. So we are in September, and we are going to go through that very thing. I'm going to go through the list, and then we'll talk about what we're hyped for and what we're not hyped for. So via IGN, this is September's 2020 list of releases. Is this PS4 game release dates? Why is it PS4? Uh-oh.
PS4 and PS5. Oh,
yeah, I don't know. I don't think we usually use this one.
Yeah. September 1st, we got Crusader Kings 3, came out for PC. We got MX vs. ATV All Out for Switch. Tell Me Why, Chapter 2 for Xbox One and PC. On September 4th, we got Doraemon Story of Seasons for PS4. Marvel's Avengers for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. NBA 2K21 for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. September 8th, which is today, we got Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I know Josh is stoked for that one. September 15th, we got Fight Crab coming out on Switch. We got Spelunky 2 coming out on PS4 and PC, also on the 15th. On September 18th, we got WWE 2K Battlegrounds, which I think is that weird chubby wrestling version of wrestling for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Then on the 22nd, we got 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim on PS4. Then we got September 24th, Serious Sam 4 coming out on PC. Can't believe they keep making those. And then September 25th, we got Mafia Definitive Edition, which is the original Mafia redone from the ground up. Part of the trilogy of the other two that came out that were remastered, coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And then September 30th, we got Baldur's Gate 3 on PC. That's coming out this fucking month.
I guess so.
Holy shit. All right. What are we feeling? What are we not feeling? Chris, we'll have you go first.
I'm always interested in another Marvel Avengers game as long as it's those for multiplayer co-op games. I enjoy those a great deal. But I'm not really looking to spend money on it right now. The Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, because I have a history of those back in the day, 1 and 2. I played a lot of those, and as long as they have the original soundtrack, I'll be down for it. And then I think the only thing I'm really interested in is Baldur's Gate 3, just because I enjoy those games.
Yeah. I'm curious about Crusader Kings 3. I've heard really good things about that. I've played the prior games, and I didn't invest the amount of time you need to invest in a game like that to really know if you like it or not. So I don't have an opinion outside of I know people who fucking love these games a lot. And so I'm pretty curious about Crusader Kings 3. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up, but I'm definitely going to look into it more to see if I want to pick it up. Doraemon Story of Seasons, that's fucking a name I haven't heard in years. So that's interesting. I don't know what the fuck it is. I might look at it, but it's just interesting to see that. Marvel's Avengers, is anybody playing that? And if you're playing it, let me know in the comments if you're enjoying it, because that game was coming out. No one cared, it seemed. Has come out. Haven't heard anything about it, really. And I have like no hype on it, and that's not negative. I'm not saying it looks bad or whatever. I just like when I look at it or know it exists, I'm like, do I want to play that? And it has like multiplayer. It has like fucking gear,
leveling and stuff.
I watched a fucking stream of it, and like the quality is really good. I hate the way the characters look, but they look like when you go to a Halloween store and it's like America soldier, and it's just like a B-rated version of Captain America, and it's just some kid. They all look like that.
The Incredible Bulk.
Exactly.
I
follow a guy on Twitter who is playing the Marvel game, and he said, "Fun, buggy, but fun."
I heard it's fun. I've heard people go that it's like pretty meh to fun. That's about the range I've heard. I haven't heard anyone say it's bad, but I also have not heard anybody say it's fucking great either. Yeah. So, and not every game needs to be great, but like, I don't know. It's just for some reason it's the same as fucking oh no, that Star Wars game that came out last year.
Oh, the Dark Souls
Fallen Order. Is that the one?
I don't remember that.
Anyway, that came out, and like because my view of Disney Star Wars, I'm sure the game's great. But because of how like soured I am by the Disney Star Wars shit, my hype was just fucking out the window. And like I am fatigued on superhero movies right now. I don't have a problem with superheroes. I just am fatigued of them. So anything Marvel, I'm like, is the game fun? That's what I care about. I don't really care that's superheroes, except for any Spider-Man game that's made by oh no, Insomniac. I'm stoked for that because fucking Spider-Man was fantastic as a game.
That same guy is also playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, and he's raving about that one.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about it. Yeah, you get 1 and 2, which is cool. It does have the soundtrack. It also has more songs added to it.
And you make
but
your
it
own
has
parks.
The original. You can make your own parks, which is fucking dope. I think I'm gonna pick that up. I'm not like fucking running out to get it or download it right now, but I do want to play it. But yeah, anyway, so Marvel's Avengers, somebody let me know what you think of it. Anyone who's been playing it.
Someone sell it to him.
Yeah. Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, I'll wait to hear about it. I was never a big fan of the original one, but I am curious to see what they do with it. That was a series that was supposed to be a series of games, and it just never got to do what they wanted to do with it. So I kind of wonder what could have been, and if this game was successful or were to be successful, I feel like they could maybe explore that. So that'd be kind of cool. Spelunky 2, I played the first one. It's kind of fun for a couple minutes for me, but I'm not a huge fan of it. But Spelunky 2 looked really neat when I was watching it, so I'm kind of curious about that. Serious Sam 4, I want to hear people's opinions on it. I guess I played Serious Sam 3 as fucking Serious Sam. Mafia Definitive Edition. I'm going to buy this for sure, 100%. I'm really excited that they're doing a full-on remake of the original Mafia game. Everything I've read so far has said that this feels just like a brand new Mafia game, only it's the story of the first game. It's on the newest tech they got. It's built up just like the newest Mafia games, and I'm really excited for it. And then Baldur's Gate 3 is fucking hugely anticipated. I'm fucking so excited for it, and I, for some reason, had no idea it was coming out at the end of this month. I thought like all the big games were over with except for Cyberpunk, and now I'm looking at Baldur's Gate 3 going like, fuck, dude. That's made by Larian Studios, same guys who made fucking Divinity Original Sin 2 and Original Sin. Ugh. Fantastic fucking games we all gave pretty much, I think, A's to. So, and this new game is just more of just that quality. Like, I'm so excited for Baldur's Gate 3. It doesn't even feel real it's coming out, so I'm picking that up probably, most likely, maybe. I am. Chevy.
I have a curiosity for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. I have fond memories of them, but I don't know if it's something I'll realistically play these days. So we'll see. I think if the price is right, I'd be willing to pick that one up. Because I think I could find enjoyment out of it still, especially with the creative park aspect of it.
Yeah, that's neat.
Kingdoms of Amalur, I'm kind of on the same page as you. Like, I remember playing the first one, and like it had some stuff to it I liked, but it just felt so like dead. So I'm hoping that maybe with me being older and appreciate storytelling and games bet more and stuff like that, maybe I'll be able to appreciate it more. But I do need to hear more on it first, and then
Josh will let us know.
Baldur's Gate 3 is a must buy. So
fuck yeah. All right, anything else?
No, that was easy.
Yeah, really easy. Short list, but a couple bangers on there for sure. Let us know in the comments, what games are you most excited for in September? What games are you picking up? What games are you on the fence about? What games are you straight fucking rejecting? Let me know what you think of Marvel's Avengers. Even if you've heard things from other people, let me know what they said too, if it's relevant enough. Like, you're like, oh, they said it's great. But more specifically, I'd really like somebody who's actually playing the game to let me know what they're thinking of it, because I've heard pretty decent things about it. So, yeah, let us know everything you think about in the comments below. So, we are playing Catch Up right now. And by Catch Up, I mean like 2 weeks ago, a game was shown off that I've had many people ask me what I thought about. And I'm like, I'll do a video. We're doing the video now, 2 weeks later. But we're still doing it, so hopefully you guys will enjoy us going through and watching the Black Myth Wukong official 13-minute gameplay trailer. This is a game I don't know much about outside of it. It's a Wukong Journey to the West game based off that mythology. I think it's being developed by a Chinese developer. I don't have much info on it, but I think I read that somewhere. Let me know in the comments, someone who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about. And we're going to watch this. We're going to talk about it. I have seen small clips here and there of it. It does graphically look really impressive, but I have not watched the full 13-minute video of it. And yeah, I'm actually really excited to finally watch this and talk about it with you guys. So anything you guys want to say?
I don't even know what I'm getting into, so not really.
That's cool. We'll get a genuine reaction from you. And Chris, have you watched this? And what are your thoughts?
I watched maybe 5 seconds of someone watching this, but I love Wukong. It's like The Journey to the West is like one of my favorite books, so I'm excited.
Yeah. And it's Wukong's done fairly often enough in a lot of games, but the only other game that I think really tried to do it full on in like a sci-fi way was that oh no, the people who made Hellblade, they made it. I can't remember what it's called, but Andy Serkis is in it. He's like one of the main characters. He plays like a Wukong style character. It's really interesting. It was a cool game. But Enslaved, I think it's Enslaved Journey to the West or something like that. Was a really cool game. But other than that, no one's really done a game like this. So I'm kind of excited for someone to just go, we're done just throwing Wukong as a character into games and a character in this game and a Warframe and all this shit. Let's just make like a fucking Wukong game. Maybe give some people, who haven't really looked into that mythology, some storytelling and some gameplay of that and get them interested in it. So I kind of like the idea of that. So yeah, and the graphic fidelity of this game is pretty impressive, specifically when we're moving towards next gen. This looks like a next gen game. So
yeah,
pretty excited to talk about it. Anything else? Got the video ready, Chris?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1, and go.
你们一定都听过关于他的故事。有人说，他帮唐僧取到了真经，封了斗战胜佛，从此留在了灵山。也有人说，那个成佛的根本不是他，
Buddhahood，
真正的他早就死在了西行路上。还有人说，西游从来都没有发生过，他只不过是说书人杜撰的一只猴子。
It's quite the beard.
但
Fucking
我
A.
要讲的故事，
You can tell he doesn't have a mirror
你一定
around.
没有听过。
He has no idea what's going on his face.
得从一只金蝉说起。
The game will look far worse than this when it releases. Don't at me.
Fight him.
不知道里面还有没有从者？
别缠了，误了事儿，小心咱们两个被灵虚真人拿去下酒。大哥，
Talking about bug snacks.
好像传来些小
Oh, bug snacks. Oh, talking about bug snacks.
The scenery is gorgeous.
Yeah. No, it's a really clean looking fucking game.
别以为就能过了老子这关。
Got him.
Gotcha, motherfucker.
不好了，有个毛脸和尚闯进来了。
The combat looks so fluid.
来者何人？敢来此处扰我清修？又是只猴子。施主，不如放下棍棒，也同我学点佛法，如何？
Let's haste our fires, dude.
Fucking A. There's wildfires happening right now because of people like this.
I smelled smoke all day today.
Yeah. I kind of did today, but I wasn't really thinking about it when Chris mentioned smoke. I'm like, wait, I smell smoke.
Yeah.
Damn.
Perfect, thanks.
Say someone's a fan of lighting.
Me, I am. I'm a fan of lighting.
It's
me.
me.
It's
The
been
whole
me the
time.
whole time.
You get your Keelik on or what?
大王说的那个。
So exactly what I was thinking of, was Keelik.
I love video game inventory. Huh.
That's mine.
Haha.
Yeah, oh, that's mine.
Yeah. Just goes into. Whoa.
God damn.
万万小心！
The full blown fantasy is pretty neat.
小猴子，
Yeah, it's not like trying to make it like realistic and gritty or whatever. It's just like, oh, this is what the fucking story's like. It's crazy shit. Oh, little baby man. Look at his fucking eyebrows.
Ugh.
Don't walk towards me. I would kick that guy.
He's got no choice but to look at his eyebrows.
That guy, yeah. That's his sunglasses. It's a good looking game. I think some of the animations are a little stiff, but I mean, like, it's pre-alpha. But, like, graphically, it definitely is good looking. Run, little boy.
等你过了前面的栈道，咱们自会再见。
The only thing I kind of hope is, like, I don't like that he just turns into a cicada to get around, and then, like, there's no consequence. Like, it's just free roam at that point.
Yeah, maybe you lose that power. Maybe it's just like an intro thing.
Yeah, I would prefer to have to, like, run around.
Mm-hmm.
Charge it up.
I don't want to take turns.
You picked a big fight there, bud.
Oh, that was crazy looking.
Rock form.
It's definitely like a hack and slash action game, but it kind of reminds me of Souls-like.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not, because he's just in there fighting like a whole crowd of people and shit. Yeah. Puppy. Kind of reminds me of Vindictus too.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if they wanted to make a new Vindictus like this, that'd be cool.
But yeah. They just want to milk Vindictus as long as they can.
Structured environment's nice.
Yeah. I like the animations of that fucking wolf boy too.
Come on now, Pablo, you're breaking the roof.
Don't you have respect for roofs?
Yeah. Architecture, man.
Someone will fix it.
Get 'em, minions. These are my putties. Bye.
Poof. Oh, he turned into the other character that we got the weapon from.
Yeah. Lots of place light on fire.
Yeah. That would smell really bad. Have that much fur on fire.
Fucking A. It's right out of the ear. It's a good spot.
I'll show you a magic trick.
It's Lu Bu.
Oh, you in my head, Charles. God damn.
Ugh.
There's a lot of imagination here, which I'm really digging.
Yeah.
Fuckers flicked him off. Bye, dude.
Son of Goku.
Uh-huh. That's the one.
That's the one.
The heavenly armies.
That's how I nap. You guys remember Mortal Shell?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Sorry, dude.
Played the
Same.
beta. It was fun. All right, what'd we think?
I think it is visually very cool looking. I do appreciate the amount of imagination. I like the graphic fidelity.
What about the baby man?
It's very unexpected, so I like it. So
Unexpected baby man.
I mean, honestly, the only thing I'm concerned about is I don't know what the depth of gameplay aspect is, because right now it just looks like a really pretty action game, which is totally fine. I just might not be enough for me to jump on it day one. Essentially, is my thought process there. So if it has, it has a lengthy gameplay loop and there's stuff to work towards, I could see it being something I'd be interested in. But right now, I just don't know enough. Other than visually, it is impressive. So
yeah, I think it looks really good. Specifically, just graphically, I think it looks really good. It's a little stiff in some places, but that's fine. It looks great. I think the particle effects look really good. I love the imagination. I'm familiar with some of the Journey to the West stuff, but not a lot. I haven't looked into it a whole lot, but it is stuff that I am interested in. The amount of things out there that are based off of Wukong is insane. I was watching that and I was like, this, all things that are inspired by that story. So that'd be really kind of cool to see, the source material manifested into a game. But yeah, the imagination's really fucking cool, and it's not fantasy that I'm used to seeing. For sure. It's not the standard fantasy you're used to. So I'm really excited for that as well. As for the gameplay, I do have similar concerns, I guess, of how deep is this game? Is it, run through hallways and swing at things and kill them and beat the level and go to the next and just kind of experience the story, which would be cool. I'd still play it in that regard. Or is there going to be deeper elements to it? Are you going to be leveling? Are you going to be unlocking new abilities? Are you going to be playing as multiple characters? Are you going to unlock that fucking Nimbus and fly around? Or is that just a segment of that, level? If it's like a cinematic action game, cool. I'm down for that. I like games like that. I don't know if I'd be like running out the door to fucking get it and play it. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't interested in this game. Like, it definitely looks like something that, like, it looks fresh. It looks like something that I wasn't expecting from somebody to make, and so it's definitely on my radar of games I'd like to, keep an eye on. But I feel like if it does come out here, I assume it will. I will most likely be playing it unless somebody plays it early on and goes, yeah, it's straight fucking trash, don't touch it. And I'd be like, oh, that sucks. Let's see if like 20 other people agree with you. Chris.
I'm kind of the same boat as you guys, but I really enjoy the subject matter and the visual style they've gone with it. I really need to see what the gameplay is going to be like further, and how, like, if there's a progression system, or if it's like you said, if it's just hallways and linear story. I probably will pass on it, to be honest. Even though I really like the subject matter, that's not something I would want out of a game like this. I would want a bigger kind of open worldy, exploration-y, more of, like you said, Dark Souls-y. But if it's just a linear story experience, I'd probably just be like, okay, that's cool. I'll watch someone play it.
Yeah, for sure. Even if it looks like it's inspired by Dark Souls in some ways, specifically the boss battles and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Combat of, random enemies didn't seem that like it was trying to be difficult. In fact, it looked really fucking easy to me. Like, almost like they're like, Wukong is awesome, and look how awesome Wukong is. And you're like, yeah, Wukong's awesome. And you're smacking people. Exactly, yeah. It kind of felt like that. And then the boss battle actually felt like there was a challenge there. So maybe he's so badass it just takes a giant wolf boy to, give him a challenge, which I think is cool as well.
Superman 2.
Yeah. Superman.
Return of the Monkey Man.
But we only saw 13 minutes of what they decided to show us. So I don't know if like maybe there'll be gold you find in the game, and you can at a store buy like stuff like healing items and buffs or whatever the fuck, new staffs, upgrades to the staff, which would be cool. He had that fire ability. I don't know if he just always has that or if he got that. The cicada thing, I don't like the idea of just flying around as a cicada either. No disrespect to the storytelling if that's a huge element of it. But if that's just a common thing you can do, like stealth mode on, he's turned to a cicada, and everybody's like, giant ass fucking golden cicada's been around here for fucking days, just flying around looking at shit. And that Wukong guy's been floating around here too randomly. Like, what the hell's going on? Whatever. I'm gonna go on with my fucking life. So yeah. Gameplay. I think that's the biggest factor here. Otherwise, everything else, it has the makings of looking like a fucking dope ass game.
For sure.
Yeah.
So just need to know what the hell we're getting into. Maybe it's like 10 levels, and like every level it's just like the name of a chapter, and you run through and you kill shit and you watch cinematics, and then you just play through each one of them.
You just Wukong smash and then boss fight.
Yeah, and it's just like the Order 1886 or something. It's just fucking
a spectacle.
Yeah. We are moving into new consoles, new tech. You're going to get some early on games like that, just to show you what the consoles can do. So we'll see when they reveal more of the game. Anything else?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Wukong. Let us know in the comments, what did you think of what is it called? Black Myth Wukong. Official 13-minute gameplay trailer. Are you excited for this game? Or you're not excited for this game? Is there details about this game that you've read that has you excited for or not excited for it? Is it a Chinese publisher or dev making this game? I read that somewhere, so I could be 100% incorrect. Let me know in the comments if you have that detail as well. And let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to Black Myth Wukong in the comments below. Last segment is the segment where we read your guys' comments, and there's so many videos that we missed out on reading the comments. I think we're just going to start fresh with the last episode where we actually got some Ask TLGs from people, and we're going to read those, respond to them. They're all pretty lengthy, and and in our new format, I'm going to be able to just read them directly from here. Check if you guys can even see that. Ooh, it's a little off. We'll read them, and I'm so not used to my setup still. Okay, perfect. Anyway, Yeah. So, first comment. This is on a video. We responded to, or responded. We fucking reacted to Gamescom opening night live 2020. We weren't really impressed with it.
Yeah.
It was kind of not that great.
It was there.
If you want to venture through our commentary for almost 3 hours, it might be worth it. But as Gamescom opening night live, I wouldn't recommend you watch that on your own. Come with us. You can come with us and watch it. Go back and watch that episode. But that happened, and in that episode, we got quite a bit of comments from it, which is really very cool. And yeah, our first one is from Simon. 2 questions. Randall. He puts hashtag Ask TLGM's comment with moving ? We were talking about the moving we were doing, which has been a big thing for the last month. We are finally done with that and only have a couple things left to do. But yes, we moved. Look at those bags under those eyes. Were y'all moving the city out? Well, nice to see Best Sony PlayStation Game Award going to 2077. The game may still be in development, but that's just bloody semantics in it. Past that, half the event was messaging, we treat games like art, head ass. And the other half was like, was this worth even it? Cartoon ass Lego Star Wars concept art trailers, what the fuck, comic relief. Let's talk about Medal of Honor, bruh. This game is the one, trust me. Why would I say if it wasn't? I put 400 hours into Athens Cleed Odyssey.
Rough.
Oh, I'm trying to read it the way he typed it, and it's fun. WWUE Mamma Mia. So much incoherent chaos. Can't believe my eyes pre-order now. I think if they tried to sell some of the games less with more footage, I wouldn't have cringed as hard. Age of Empires Definitive looks nice though. I'm a boomer, can't play Ratchet and Clank. Past that, I guess this was the opening night. Was no point to expecting it to be super interesting. Who wants to tackle that one?
The bags under the eyes was 100% real.
The bags are real.
Yeah, I finally this is the first weekend I've slept. So like full nights of actual sleep. So I'm feeling a lot better now. Probably still have bags, but I have a lot of catch up to do from years of treating my body like shit. So yeah, the semantics part, yeah, I mean, the award shows are pretty much that anyways, but they can still be fun to watch. That was just not an expected segment for that. It's not what I watched Gamescom for. And then, yeah, I don't even know what to say about the rest of it other than, like, Age of Empires does look nice, and anyone can play Ratchet and Clank. You can do it. I believe in you.
Well, if he's a boomer...
I don't care about that.
There's rules. Boomers can't play Ratchet and Clank.
Fuck that.
My boomer aunt has all of them. It's her favorite game.
Simon's got some things to address.
Believe in yourself, because when you believe in yourself, you can be a winner.
You be a winner.
You be quiet, Naruto.
So yeah, the moving thing, the bags under the eyes thing, completely real. I've kind of been mentioning every episode because this is like the first month ever in like the 5 years I've had this channel where the schedule was completely fucked. Like sometimes we'll have like one episode a month. I'm like, we can't make it. Something happened or whatever. I always try to make up for it. This month was like, I can't make up for the episodes. I can just only get an episode out if I can do it. And it really kind of sucked because like the whole situation, without going into details, was dropped on us. We had to fucking go. So, and we got it all done. It's all good now. But it was like 4 weeks of just nonstop, like work. And then our weekends were fucking moving and all the shit. And, it was tiring. So we were very, very tired. Actually, this weekend, I feel fucking fantastic. It's the first time in like a month that I'm like, I feel good.
I can't say fantastic, but I definitely feel better.
If I'm feeling better than I was, I'm feeling fantastic. The awards thing, in that fucking, ONL, whatever the hell, giving out awards for games that aren't even out yet. That shit drove me nuts.
That was just IGN going like, look, we're here.
Yeah, and I don't want to ever know IGN's here. Don't talk. I don't want to hear from you. Just stay in the corner and hold. You can have a shirt that says IGN. That's fine. I'll look over here every once in a while. But that whole situation was just fucking so stupid. Thank you for spelling this out in a way that I sounded like an asshole. So that was a fun experiment. Now watch, people are going to type in hashtag AskTLG on all their comments and always write them out like that. So I have to say I'm weird. I probably shouldn't have said that. Was fun to read though, the way you put that. Age of Empires Definitive looks nice though. I agree 100%. I'm very excited for that. I like the prior Age of Empires, but Age of Empires 3, I have a real love for that game. So I can't wait to play that. Ratchet and Clank, I'm not a boomer, but I'm pretty close. But they're fine. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I like them enough, and I appreciate them. But I also understand they're not. Well, I would argue they are for everybody, but they're not for everybody. Like, there's people who are just not going to be into them, so I get it. And yeah, I'm pretty much agree with everything you said. Very well said. Very eloquent. Chris?
I pretty much agree with me with everything I said when we watched the games. I don't give a shit about your fake award, so fuck you. And the only things I remember hard about the Gamescom was Age of Empires 3 and the Ratchet and Clank. That's all I was really like, oh, that looks neat.
And we
not
were
even just like, woo!
We were there for like 3 hours.
Hours. Yeah.
And there's 2 games you're fucking referencing. Oh, man.
That was like all the episodes, for reference point, where Seth got up and left.
I forgot about that. That's like a first, too. There's a lot of firsts happening lately. Yeah. Anything else? Thank you for the comment, Simon. 2 questions, Randall. Hope to hear from you soon, and I'm sure we will. The other hashtag AskTLG we got is from Jeremy McCode. How do you say that? You've already told me before, and I don't got it down. But he has returned. Glad to hear from you. And he puts hashtag AskTLG. You guys all finish move out. I hope you are all set up and comfortable. You guys look really tired.
Jesus.
I'm the biggest weeb, all caps, ever. And I would not argue against that. He's a pretty big weeb. End of discussion. Peace. Gameplay. I love trailer, but man, show us more gameplay. There was some cool game, but I'm disappointed. Your reaction was way more fun, thank you, and entertaining to watch than the Gamescom itself. Sorry I skipped some part. Completely understandable. Anyway, nice job. Always funny. It will be cool to watch your reaction of Black Myth Wukong. It looks pretty dope. Hopefully you watched right before the segment, because we just did that. So I'll jump in on this one. Yeah, the move. We did the move. We were very tired. It obviously translated. I felt like our first episode, I was like, oh, we haven't done this in forever, and I just don't have the mental faculties for this, and just not really ready for everything. But I was like, we gotta get back. We gotta get this fucking going again, dude. So we did it, and yeah, so definitely tired. You are the biggest weeb ever. Chevy's a pretty big weeb, but he's fucking low key weeb. He doesn't run around fucking yelling it. So you guys are.
I have some enjoyment.
I do too. I have many enjoyment. Yeah. And then gameplay, I agree with you. Gameplay would have been nice. There was a lot of talking with people about random things and a lot of promises of games coming and concept and CGI. And, I don't mind some of that, but when the majority of a 3-hour fucking experience is just that, I really kind of felt like we could have cut a lot of that fat. And it really felt like in that Gamescom video, it felt like they knew they had an overabundance of stuff that wasn't exciting. Jeff Keighley really kind of came off like he fucking knew that this wasn't going to be a blast. Certain parts are going to be good. And he's trying to get us to that by going, it's coming. I promise it's coming. But the whole atmosphere of that video almost felt like they were aware that it was just bloated with stuff that wasn't going to be as great for everybody, and it really translated. So hopefully, we don't have to experience something like that again.
Yeah,
I'm glad you enjoyed our reactions. Very much appreciated. I've had a couple comments now say like, "Man, I would have not watched that if you guys didn't do the commentary." And I'm like, "Fair,
we suffer for you."
Yeah, and then other people are like, "I had to skip some parts." I'm like, I wanted to. I left the room. So I don't blame you. Yeah, hopefully you got a chance to watch 10 minutes ago of that Black Myth Wukong, which I also think looks pretty dope. Chevy, Chris.
I mean, the big standout here for me is the gameplay. Where's the gameplay? I swear I'm saying something along those lines every time we watch one of these shows, just because like they bring out this concept of the game, which I appreciate, but it's like I have a hard time getting hyped when they're like, here's a CG trailer and here's a bunch of people talking about it that totally are not reading some script, and I don't know, it just gets really boring essentially. Like it's a lot more entertaining, especially, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this as someone who plays video games, to actually see what I'm going to be able to play. Like I said, I don't mind the proof of concept stuff from time to time, but a lot of times that is just them announcing something earlier than they weren't ready to show gameplay at that point. I almost wish you just wouldn't show and wait until you had something to show at that point. So, But then a lot of these game shows might not have anything, so who knows? Who the hell am I, right?
You're Chevy.
And then I mean, I also enjoy anime stuff. So
That's that boomer talk. Who am I?
Who are you? What happened? Where am I?
Chris, any thoughts?
I mean, I'm not going to fight you on the biggest weeb thing. That's fine. Take it. Congratulations.
your title, you can have it.
That's all yours. And yes, the gameplay would have been nice to see it. We talked about that a lot. And when I think about it again, it feels like we were at the CEOs and they're kind of pitching an idea of like, this is what we want to make, and kind of like gauging it from that. But it just was like the wrong atmosphere. It felt like for that, like, show us interactivity or how the game is going to play, not your concept for a game you think you might want to build. And here's a CG trailer I built just in case I think I might want to make this game, but I need your approval first.
You know what though? I'm gonna say I will take the CG trailers all day long over all the let me talk about our belief structure as a company things they do. I am so burnt out on that, dude.
Okay, here's the thing. Fucking point to any company, and I'm gonna guess what their beliefs are on being a company and how to be
PR,
good.
PR, man.
Yeah, it's all PR. They don't give a fuck about anything. And so if you need to just come out and be like, this is what we believe in, I can tell you what you believe in.
Can I tell you something? We're good people. Here's why we're good people.
We're good people, and we support good people. And we want everyone to be good people by giving us money. That's good people activity right there. Give us your money. Think we're good, and we'll think you're good when you give us your money. It's a fair trade.
Yeah, whoever's telling you guys that we want to see that crap,
Fire them.
They're wrong.
Yeah. Anything else?
Nice to see you, Jeremy.
Nice to see you, Jeremy. And thank you for the comment. The next Ask TLG we got is from Keith. I'm going to need help with this from Chris, because this is in regards to talking about the expansion to WoW coming out. We had said something about it. I'm going to read this and it'll probably come back to me. Keith has a lot to say about Shadowlands, and what he says is, I think for the most part, the cautiously has been dropped from cautiously optimistic for Shadowlands. For some reason, Blizzard woke up and has been completely transparent with, because we were talking about the last expansion. I said from my experience, people I know who played it hopped in excited, and then they're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
It's just like, was like that. So, okay. For some reason, Blizzard woke up and has been completely transparent with its player base regarding the development of the game. They are listening to feedback, changing things people tell them they don't like, reiterating and polishing way more than they ever did with Battle of Azeroth. We knew BFA was going to be shit before it launched because they weren't listening to any of the big streamers, YouTubers, or their player base feedback. They kept everything in the game that was bad and went ahead and launched it knowing it was subpar. This time around, I really feel like they finally understand that this may possibly be their last-ditch effort to please us, and they went out of their way to do so. I think that's a fair point. There are a few things that are going into the expansion that we're apprehensive about, but they have assured us they have fail-safes in place, and to just trust them on the cohesion of all the different features and stuff. At any time that they can literally push a button and change something if it's not working. Battle of Azeroth's biggest problem was the layering upon layering of systems and features without changing previous ones. It was analogous to sinking ship patching it with 2 boards just for another hole to blast through and start spewing forth water. That seems to be entirely corrected for this expansion. We will see, though. I'm still a little cautiously optimistic. BFA did a number on me. The first expansion I didn't cautiously or continuously play all the way through. I'm begging Chris to play with me, but he's been burnt as well, so I understand his caution totally. Haha. Chris, how about you respond to that first?
Okay, so yes, I have been intrigued by Shadowlands to the point where I have contemplated renewing my subscription just to kind of get into the swing of things again, because a part of me does miss playing WoW. It is the MMO that I grew up playing. That is my first MMO, so I have fond memories of it, and playing BFA did burn me. And from talking from Keith, and from what I've talked with Keith here and there, it does sound like, from what he's told me, that they are listening to the player base of what changes they want to see to classes or the game overall, and they are making steps to achieve some of those aspects in a positive way. But I don't know firsthand. I haven't read anything about that. But we'll see what happens. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, once you get burned, it's kind of hard to get that taste out of your mouth of like, well, they kind of, did something I really didn't like, and it's still like a problem for me. Mm-hmm. But it's only time will tell at this point. But it does have me very intrigued right now as to contemplate even just renewing my subscription.
Interesting. I think one of my biggest takeaways from what Keith said, as someone who doesn't play WoW and doesn't have a huge interest in it but respects it, is the idea of releasing an expansion with fail safes in mind. That's kind of a weird thing. I don't know if I like that or dislike that, and to the idea of like, well, I guess I can't dislike it because it's the same as if you release something and then take it out with a patch. They're just making it easier to do. But it's interesting because they've had to have dealt with people's backlash so much that they are developing things with the idea of potentially taking it out at an instant if people don't like it. That's kind of wild to me to hear from a developer. I haven't really heard another developer go like, you know what, we're implementing all this stuff, but don't worry, you don't like it, we'll just fucking kick it out real quick. And it's smart in a development standpoint, but at the same time, it kind of worries me because it feels like they're not confident in what they're putting out. It's smart, but it worries me in the same way that like Valve doesn't want to touch Half-Life 3 because they're scared to make it because they don't know if people are going to like it. And it's like, well, maybe you should get someone in who fucking like is feeling confident they can make a great game, just like with an expansion. Maybe you should do a little more research possibly to know that this shit's gonna, or do some play tests and make sure people are really fucking digging it. But again, I'm not trying to take away from it's smart. If I was a dev and I'm like, there's a possibility people are gonna fucking hate this, and to just get quickly out of that situation, let's just make some fucking fail safe so we can just get that shit out of there real quick. It makes sense, but it's just for some reason it kind of is disappointing in the sense of like being confident in what you make. But again, WoW's been out for so long that like, they're just maintaining the community at this point. They're not fucking blowing up and getting like mass amounts of new people in. So they're just trying to make people happy, and I get that. So I just don't want to see more and more companies coming out going like, we got great new features, but if you don't like them, we're taking them out.
Well, it really depends on how like you said, how timid they are and how quick they are to press that panic button. Yeah. If they do it immediately, then that something's wrong internally. And if they tell you like, stick it out for a while, if we keep getting complaints, we'll take it out, then I'd feel okay with that.
Sure.
It's just a matter of how fast and how panicky they are to press that button, like, oh, abort. Yeah.
And that's my whole thing is I'm not, like I said, it's not I like or dislike it. It's like, it just kind of worries me, the idea of how that could be implemented and how much confidence does that take away from the person who's releasing it. They could be super confident. They're like, we're never going to have to hit that fucking fail safe, but it's there just in case. That'd be great. Just in case. But I don't know. So they could be like, oh, I just don't want to upset anyone again. I don't want to get yelled at. I don't want to hear fucking, don't you guys have phones? I don't want to hear this shit anymore. So I'm just ready. My hand's on the fucking fail safe. Just if someone goes, I'm going to go, fuck, okay, it's gone. I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry. Please just keep fucking paying. Please. I just don't want it to be that.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I mean, not a whole lot. Mostly just, I hope, like what you're saying, that they're listening and not ruining, like, because you said, essentially right in the beginning there, removing the cautiously from cautiously optimistic, meaning being optimistic. And I hope that can continue and just be positivity when it comes out for you. Because as a community, I would love to see positive reception, for the game. Because, it gets really, it's sad to watch something just kind of like die off because the devs just don't give a shit. And I'm not saying that that's the case here, but it is one of those legacy games, and I would like to see it stay. So I think for your sake and anyone else who's enjoying the game, that I hope it's good. So
yeah, and I liked your analogy of the boat sinking. I think that was a good way to put it. And in a perfect world, I'm hoping, in a perfect world, this will be released. And not only will be the expansion you fucking have been dreaming of and more. I hope it's so good that fucking everyone is just like, holy shit, I can't believe I've gone my whole life never playing WoW, or I stopped playing WoW, and I'm coming back, baby, forever. I love it so much. This expansion has changed my fucking life.
That would make my heart feel real joy. I don't know why, but just that sentiment, just like, yeah.
I hope that happens. I don't know if it will, but I hope it does.
I'd be very impressed.
I'd be impressed with anybody with that. Everyone just agrees and holds hands for once ever on this fucking planet. Pierre's like, it's great, and fucking Blizzard's like, yes. I'm just like, okay, we're all just gonna upload our consciousness into WoW now. Bye, Earth. That's the future, dude. Perfect world. So yeah. Anything else you guys want to say?
Huh?
Yeah.
Thank you for the comment, Keith. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for the comments. There's a couple more comments I want to read real quick.
No.
First off, Keith also said no. Keith says, ooh, I love the new studio. Also sounds way better. Woot woot. Thank you. I actually kind of threw this together fairly quickly when we moved here. I was like, okay, I need the foam pads up like before, but I think I'm going to get rid of the Funkos. Maybe I'll throw them back there again. I don't know, but I kind of like it. It looks a little more cleaner. And we don't have our boom light anymore, so it's not as bright. I'm glad you like the studio. I'm pretty happy with it. There's a couple things I want to change. Our camera angle's a little crooked right here.
I think
need to fix that.
I think the type of room we're in now compared to what we were in before too is better for sound. So
yeah, it's not as big in here. Yeah. So yeah, and I've also set up some things that kind of dampen the sound movement anyway. And we're also sitting like right on top of these mics, but they are the same mics from before. But yeah, I've heard 3 people now tell me that the first episode came out and people were like, I like the new studio better. And I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, I'm happy because I literally just threw it together. I was like, I gotta have something. I gotta have a fucking backdrop. So yeah, I really appreciate that.
Here,
and I'm glad you gotta look at us. You gotta look at the background. I'm glad that it's working for you. So that's really cool. Card Small says maybe I'm getting out of touch or whatever you guys want to call it, but I actually enjoy the fluff in between the game showcases. These are events to me, and I enjoy getting all the extras.
I do have something to say to this one. I agree with you on that. In fact, that's one of the best things about E3 is all of the show aspect of it, but there is a balance, right? And I think that balance is lost when companies like EA, or in this case Gamescom, prioritize a lot of the fluff, and then when they do show us games, we're not actually seeing games, we're seeing concept of games. So there's a balance lost there, and it's really easy to start getting bored. I would absolutely love, they're like, here's some gameplay, here's a person talk about it briefly. I don't want to sit there for necessarily 30 minutes. I do think they should be like, hey, if you want to hear more about this, we have this thing you can watch, blah, blah, blah. I think that's great too, because then if you do have a deeper interest, you can pursue that still. And then just keep it rolling. I think we have seen great examples of that out of Nintendo and Sony specifically, with the way they've been handling digital-only events. The pacing is always good. They do just enough talking. I do miss the stage show aspect of it, but that's the only part that's missing.
And which Xbox does a really good job at.
And Microsoft is really good at stage shows. Yeah.
So, and I like Ubisoft stuff typically. I think they can do some dorky shit every once in a while, but I like that they actually get like dancers and stuff to do stuff. Like I like the spectacle. So I do like fluff as well. Like we did kind of shit on a lot of the fluff in that last one, but if you go through all of our reaction videos, it's not very often we do that.
Yeah.
It's been like EA and that.
Twice now.
Yeah. So for the most part, it's just how the fluff is presented. I mean, Cardsmall even was on the same page as me when they did the deep dive on the PS5 and started talking all the tech jargon. I loved it. I was watching it though, and I was like, "There's a lot of people who are not going to like this." And then I went on Twitter, and people were like, "Xbox has 12 T-flops." And I'm like, "You didn't even understand anything that they said." Wow. Okay.
I also can regurgitate numbers.
Yeah. So I'm down to sit there and listen to someone talk as long as it's interesting. But that disingenuous corporate talk, man, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Like, I'm just not into it.
It's draining.
I'm not a fucking moron. Yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and just listen to someone just fucking tell me what they think I want to hear. I don't want to hear that shit from you at all. I don't give a fuck what you have to say about that kind of stuff. And then, you know, like the like stories of how people got to certain places or whatever in game development or whatever. Sometimes I like that. I think it was one of the E3s or one of Jeff Keighley's things. They had those people who came from Africa or whatever, I think, and were working on a game. And then the next year they caught up with them again and they're still working on a game. I was like, this is neat.
I think that was part of the Facebook. Yeah. But see, the thing that's nice about that is it's showing people who have effectively a disadvantage being given the opportunity.
Sure.
And I love that too. And that was really neat to get a follow-up.
It also was genuine though, because you can kind of just make that up. Like, this thing's been really hard for these people, and finally, like, you get like this like American Idol fucking like false fucking story to like make these normal people have like this like movie like character to them, and it's so fucking disingenuous, and I hate that kind of shit. But when they're like, yeah, these people, you know, live in a country where, you know, the opportunity to make stuff like this isn't that great, but they're working on stuff. They started from a real shitty computer, and I'm like, that's really interesting, and that's cool because I love video games. So the idea of someone in those circumstances, you know, against all adversity, fucking still finding a way to develop games. That's fucking dope. That's passion. That's awesome.
Or like when Microsoft came out with their accessibility controller.
Awesome.
And they just talked about like it in great detail. It's like, you know, it's obviously I'm not the demo.
I almost want to buy those controllers just to try them out.
It was incredibly fascinating, and I'm always impressed with what people are coming up with. Yeah. The amount of people who can play games now is so impressive, and they're constantly still trying to find more and more ways to give that access to people. There's ways you can play games with just your eyes and stuff now too. I mean, it's just it is awesome. I love seeing that stuff. So
yeah, there's some tech that came out a while ago and it tried to catch on but didn't. But every once in a while I'll play a game and I'll look in the options and it has like, it's like NVIDIA something or something, I don't know, but it's about eye movement. I'm like, how the fuck's that work? I haven't tried it, but
yeah, apparently it works just fine.
But you know, I don't see it in a lot of games anymore. But it's interesting that people have even tried to. I mean, it makes sense. When the Kinect came out, they were doing some really crazy stuff with how to track people's movements and stuff, and it's only gotten better. Even if the Kinect kind of died off, that tech is just like you can throw it in any webcam nowadays. So. But yeah, so just kind of wrapping it back around, the fluff really comes down to what the fluff is. I do like fluff. If I'm sitting there for 3 hours, though, and the fluff is a lot of just bloated, disingenuous stuff, in my opinion, it becomes taxing because it almost starts feeling almost like insulting to me. I do remember Chris was a little more adamant about they need to fuck off than I was, which is surprising because I feel like I'm typically the guy who's quick to say that kind of shit. But Chris was on it that last episode. But, you know, not to speak for Chris, but I feel like you're probably on the same page as me and Chevy when it comes to, like, you know, what the content is, not that it is. Like, you know, we don't need the corporate jargon.
No, it's not like I don't enjoy fluff. I like fluff, but it's also the amount of fluff that you have and the quality of the fluff. It's like, think of it like you're making a sandwich. If your fluff is iceberg lettuce and you're just fucking lettuce, meat, lettuce, it's fucking gross. It's a fucking salad at that point.
Yeah, and to add to that, when you open the bag of the shredded lettuce and fucking you open it and it's like, here at Lettuce Company, it's just a little speaker. We believe that people all deserve equal opportunity to do all sorts of things, and we strive to make sure that this lettuce is chopped by 16 different people equally.
Yeah, people are people and should be treated like people all at the same time and equally. Yeah.
Here at Lettuce Company, we don't believe murder is a good thing, and we would love to see a future where we do not have murder. And here at Lettuce Company, we do not support murder. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to make a shitty sandwich.
Who are you selling to? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the amount of people that need convincing of that is very small, and they don't care what you have to say.
Yeah.
Vast majority of people are just, that's just kind of like a no shit situation in their head. Like, yeah. And so
It's that clicheism of, we're a great company. We're great because we're great. And we're a great company. You deserve great things from a great company.
I'm saying this so my stockholders feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
yeah. So anyway, I think we pretty much explained that to a certain degree. I think the last episode though was a bit unfair in the terms of how we're gonna react to it though, just because of it was a long sit and there was a lot of fluff and a lot of bad fluff. So it was easy to just kind of shit on fluff as opposed to other ones where I feel like,
And that was the episode we did like after moving. So
so we're already kind of cranky too, and I think it really translated too, because I think I was like bitching about Brian Altano too and saying fuck you to him and shit. I'm just like, I should be a little more playful about this. I don't disagree with anything I said, but I probably shouldn't have been as aggressive as I was. But I was very tired, so it was very easy for me to just be like, fuck them. Life's hard. Fuck them.
I'm cranky and I need a nap.
So thank you for the comment, Cart Small. And then last one, Wade says, I own a bowling ball also.
Yeah, you do.
And anything else you guys want to say?
No.
I wish you good luck with your bowling ball, Wade. And that's going to do it for this episode of Tastecast, episode 123. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Half of those. And we got a Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. If you prefer to listen to us, we have a Patreon if you want to support the channel. And type in hashtag STLG on your comment if you want to be part of that segment we just did. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
Until next episode, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.